Hi, I'm Houston City Council member Amanda Edwards, and welcome to the third interview of the Edwards Empowerment Talks. Thank you for joining us today. Like always, we are here to inspire you with real stories of perseverance and to remind you that where you are today is not where you must remain. Our guests demonstrate the notion that when people are empowered, change happens, and that change can be monumental. Our guest today is a perfect example of the power of perseverance. After decades of unhealthy habits, inactivity, DeEtte Sauer became morbidly obese. The doctors predicted that she would have a major heart attack within 5 years. However, at the age of 58, DeEtte made a decision that would change her life forever. She learned to swim. This one decision led her to become a nationally ranked champion swimmer. Now at the age of 77, she has won over 50 medals and believes it is part of her mission to empower others through her story of transformation. Join me in welcoming our guest today, Mrs. DeEtte Sauer. DeEtte, it's so good to see you again.
Thank you for asking me.
And DeEtte, it's been a while. As you recall, the last time we were together was at our Empowered You Houston Senior Citizens Conference, where you were one of the keynote speakers. I want to thank you for that and for inspiring so many of the seniors who were present.
It was a wonderful experience, and everyone there had such a great time.
Well, I had a great time, and I talk about you all the time, and in fact, so much so that when we were thinking about who to interview for the third interview for our Edwards Empowerment Talks, everyone around me suggested that I interview you since I talk about your story so much.
Well, I appreciate that.
Well, you're welcome. And I want to start a little bit about what I talked about in the introduction, which is about your story. You were living a very unhealthy lifestyle. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
I was very much heavy into drinking, smoking, and when I quit those things, I moved into eating, and so I was very heavy, very obese, very sedentary, and in my early 40s, I was old. I felt weak. I just felt like that's all there was.
And so what was the turning point? I'm told that there was a family vacation, I think 1986 or so.
Well, of course, there were a lot of embarrassing moments that had happened up to that point, which does happen when you're that large and you can't get around and you're tired and weak. But we went on a family vacation, and I couldn't get in the boat with the rest of my family because I couldn't maneuver enough to get from the dock into the boat. I was humiliated. I went back to the room and I cried, and I just said, that's it, enough is enough.
Now, had you had any other instances where your humiliation or hurt feelings from the situation had motivated you? Had you had any false starts, if you will, in terms of trying to get your life turned around in the past?
Oh, yes. Oh, of course. I'm like every other person that's way overweight. You try everything a million times, but you're looking for magic. You're looking for something to kind of take it away. And instead, I was at a point where I understood that I had to change everything. I mean, everything.
Now, you had some health problems, is that right? We talked about the doctor telling you were going to have possibly a heart attack within 5 years?
Yes, I had severe blockages in my arteries, and it was all because of what I had done to myself. You know, I know there's so many people that have bad things happen to them, bad diseases that cripple them or that incapacitate them. This I had all done to myself, and I guess that was the most humiliating thing.
So you had you struggled with weight your entire life, or was this something that kind of got progressively worse?
Well, I hadn't really struggled with weight. I struggled more with the mentality about weight. I never thought I was the right size. I never thought, that whatever weight I was good enough, and so all of that was very created a very complicated situation. So then when I did get that obese, it was devastating emotionally.
So DeEtte, we're going to hold that thought right there and come back to transition from where you were on family vacation and the trials and tribulations you were facing with your weight to actually learning how to swim. So if you hold that thought, we'll be right back. And we're back with DeEtte Sauer talking to us about her tale of triumph, how she overcame a life of unhealthy habits to becoming a championship swimmer. And so, DeEtte, can you tell us, we talked a little bit about the challenges. I want to hear more about this turnaround. Tell us about how you jumped in the pool, literally and figuratively.
Well, I was at the gym and I was kind of bored with walking on the treadmill and doing the regular things. And they announced that they were starting a new swim team and you could do it for 2 weeks without paying and it was free and show up. So I did the first day. I jumped in the pool. I couldn't even get halfway across the pool. I don't know what in the world made me think that I could do it, but it was just something different, and I was into challenges at that point.
Now, tell me, at that point, how old were you?
I was 58.
58 years old, so no prior swimming lessons, right?
No.
So you did not know how to swim.
Well, I could kind of dog paddle.
Okay, so you went from dog paddling.
Without getting my hair wet.
Without getting your hair wet.
Uh-huh.
To now jumping into the middle of a pool, 58 years old, not really knowing how to swim well, and you just took the leap.
Well, I didn't really understand what master swimming was about, and that it was for people that could swim, and but there was a coach on deck, a young woman, and she was the one that empowered me. I mean, she said, "You can do this. I will teach you. Keep your mouth shut and do what I tell you. No whining, no complaining." And she literally taught me to swim and taught me to love the sport and taught me to embrace competition and everything there was around the swimming events. And it changed my life totally.
Now, were there rough days when you were in the process of learning how to swim?
Of course. There are a lot of rough days. I mean, it was very hard for me to learn at that age, and there was no one within 20 years of me in that on that swim team.
Was that intimidating?
In a way, except not really. They didn't treat me any differently.
Okay.
But the people on the team, you know, would kind of joke around and call me mom and, you know, that kind of thing. But they always were respectful, and they kind of used me as a measurement, saying, you know, if she can do it, we can do it. Mm-hmm. And so
did you know you were motivating the people around you at that time?
I did, because the coach kept telling me.
Okay.
She kept saying, you can't not do it because they're looking to you and
Yes.
people are watching you and they want you to succeed. And so, you know.
So sometimes throwing yourself out there in a position where then people begin to rely on you helps you to step up to the plate.
Absolutely.
And holds you accountable.
Absolutely.
Sometimes.
And it still does. It
Yeah.
still does
Tell
to this day.
Tell me how.
Well, like right now, I'm teaching swimming, and so the people that I'm involved with, that I work with, they're watching me, and they're encouraged by the fact that I am 77 and I'm active and I'm doing things, and not just in the pool. I mean, the energy and everything I get from the pool has translated into my private life, and you know, and into the tutoring I do and the working in the school system.
So tell me this, DeEtte. One can learn how to swim at the age of 58. That is not an easy feat, but it can be done. But not everybody's going to be a championship swimmer. You went on to then win 50 medals. Can you tell me about how you became this world-class champion swimmer?
I've always had a competitive spirit. I mean, it was there when I was working in my career. It's been there my whole life. But when I was young, girls were not encouraged to do sports. Mm-hmm. You know, it just wasn't something that was acceptable. There weren't organized sports available, and so I never thought about it. And so to be on my first team ever at 58 years old mm-hmm. was exciting. And then when I did compete and found out that I could actually win medals and achieve, I mean, it just flipped a switch that hadn't turned off yet.
Yeah, and so what was that ingredient? What was it that you could just do your best and see where it goes? Or what was it that, would you say, was the switch for you?
Well, I just think it was the opportunity mm-hmm. provided the switch. I mean, I love competition. I love pushing myself.
Pushing yourself.
And swimming is about pushing yourself. I mean, it's about competing against yourself and each time trying to improve and grow and do more. In fact, next week and in a couple of weeks, I'm doing an event that if I complete it, I'll be the oldest woman in America to have done it.
Awesome. Well, hold that thought. We want to learn more about that event. And again, all of these records you're setting are remarkable. Let me just say that. We'll come back in just a few minutes with DeEtte Sauer. And we're back with the riveting story of DeEtte Sauer about how she transformed her life to become a championship swimmer. DeEtte, you were telling me that you're getting ready to embark upon something that's unprecedented. Can you share with me what that is again?
It's called the Butternut Challenge.
Okay.
And it's a national challenge, and it's swimming a 500-yard butterfly, which is 20 laps of butterfly. Butterfly is the hardest stroke that there is.
20 laps of butterfly?
Yes.
Okay, well, all I can do is wish you well and let you know that we're rooting for you, and I hope that that goes extremely well. I know it will, as in all of the things that you've embarked upon. And so with those challenges, you know, lots of people are watching, young, older, you name it. Can you tell me, what does that represent to others, seniors, somebody, what message would you want to impart about that?
Well, I think we're challenged every day.
Yeah.
I mean, to be a senior athlete, to be a senior citizen, we have to constantly be overcoming. And the golden years aren't that successful if you're not resilient. You have to be able to overcome. You have to be able to accept change and adjust to it. And that's one of the most important ingredients in a successful aging.
And I think what you have highlighted that I think is challenging for a lot of people of all ages, but particularly senior citizens, is that adjustment, right? We like to do things the way we've always done them, and sometimes you can't, but that doesn't mean you can't do it at all. It just means you have to adjust, right?
Well, I think yes, and true empowerment comes when you have that sense within yourself that you have stepped out of your comfort zone and you're reaching out and doing something that maybe you didn't see yourself doing or you didn't imagine. You know, so it's that sense of fulfillment, that excess of fulfillment that leads to empowerment.
Would you say that you're on a quest, always on a quest to feel fulfilled?
You know, now it kind of comes naturally, because, well, especially because I work so much with children and because I'm working with people teaching them to swim, and I mean, fulfillment just is part of my day, which I love, but I've had to work to get there.
And it provides you energy to do more of it, right?
Absolutely, absolutely.
One of the things I want to also highlight and have you illustrate some examples of your own is that even though you might have a fulfilled or rewarding experience, there's still bumps along the road. Do you ever have challenges getting in the pool and some of the things? People need to know a little bit more of what it looks like once you've had a breakthrough, but in order to continue to push. Tell me a little bit about what's involved there.
Oh, every day there are challenges. I mean, physically to do what I'm doing is challenging. I mean, my shoulders, my knees, I mean, everything. And in fact, my doctor told me the other day, he said, well, I promise you, I'm going to keep you going to 85. And I said, 85? Are you kidding me? Let's talk 105.
Yes, that's right.
I mean, we got to, you know, we got to keep going.
Yeah.
Which swimming is something I could do forever, because I have seen people 102 swimming at National Senior Olympics.
Have you really?
The man that encouraged me the most was a man that was 92 years old and did a 200 butterfly. And I thought, you know, if that man can do it, I can learn how to do it at 62. That's when I learned butterfly. So, you know, we just have to expand what we believe is possible.
I'm going to ask you to repeat that. Say that one more time.
Expand what you believe is possible.
It's oftentimes the barrier is in our mind, right?
Absolutely.
And we don't even realize that we think of it as being the trappings of our body or whatever other perceived limitation we have. And while we might have some obstacles because of those things, it's really about what we believe we can do that really will push us forward.
Yes.
Can you give some advice, some parting words for those out there who might be in circumstances similar to the ones you were in with regard to your health, weight, those types of challenges, or in another type of challenge in their life where they're thinking they're limited based on their circumstances? What would you tell them right now?
Well, I think a lot of that is connected to depression, and that the first step to get out of depression is action. And so you've got to make yourself get involved, you know, and find a purpose bigger than yourself. I think when we lose purpose, we lose hope.
That's right.
And so it's finding a sense of purpose. And the swimming has provided purpose for me, not just in getting in the pool and swimming, but it's what it's afforded me. It's given me a platform to encourage others to seek health and to seek well-being and to seek fulfillment and to have fun.
DeEtte, I want to thank you again for being on our program. This was so inspirational.
Well, thank you for inviting me. I really appreciate it.
Well, that wraps up our third interview of the Edwards Empowerment Talks. As I mentioned earlier, DeEtte shared her story last year at the Empowered You Houston Senior Citizens Conference. Her journey of empowerment and perseverance truly embodies the message of the conference. We believe that all community members, including our seniors, have the power to thrive in their life. We're gearing up for our 2018 conference on Thursday, October 25th at the Kingdom Builders Center. It will be a fun-filled day of dynamic speakers, workshops, community resources, and a host of other activities, including cooking classes and line dancing. We hope to see you there. I want to thank DeEtte for being here with us today, and I look forward to seeing you next time.